education, and real-world knowledge about the voiceover industry. It's the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
Let's do it. Okay, great. All right. Welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. I'm Linda Bruno. We have exciting news for this fall. We have a new coach coming on board in October to bring another set of expert ears to your performances. And our fall workouts are back, so make sure you join us. But if you're considering getting coaching, we offer personalized coaching to help you achieve your goals faster. Just visit our website, voiceover.guru, to get more info. So today's episode, definitely going to broaden my mind. AI has been on everyone's minds lately, especially with all the talk about the unions currently on strike in the hopes of implementing some regulations for fair compensation for actors. But it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on. But I'm curious to learn more about it in some areas where voice talent can hopefully still stay relevant as we move forward. So in the hopes of expanding my knowledge a bit, please welcome to the podcast, Chief Revenue Officer of DeepDub Oz Krakowski.
Hey, Linda. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm in Texas. It's pretty hot these days.
Where are you in Texas?
In the Dallas area.
Dallas. Okay, I'm from San Antonio.
There you go. Well, are you right now in San Antonio?
No, I'm in New York now.
Yeah.
So what drew you to Texas? So many people are going to Texas.
I know. There's I don't know if you know, but the North Texas, specifically the Dallas area, is like one of the leading areas in the United States for domestic immigration. It's incredible.
Really?
Right?
Oh, wow.
Experiencing amazing growth. A lot of people are just moving in. I came here 16 years ago, working for corporate America after traveling the world. I'm originally from Israel. I mean, you can hear in my accent, but
where's your Texas accent? Come on.
Oh, my kids are asking me that, on a daily basis. We arrived about 16 years ago. It's actually going to be 16 in September. My kids were born here, but at the time was working for Texas Instruments that is based in Dallas, and just decided to stay.
That's what. So how long have you been? I think is this a family-run business? Your DeepDub.ai?
Some families start a business. I'd like to refer to it as a business that is being was created by family, not as a means to do a family business, but just as to do something positive or impactful, and use our expertise. But essentially it was actually founded by my two brothers. I joined slightly after they created it. But the company was established in 2019 by my two brothers. I'm what we call the sandwich, the one in the middle. And it just happened to be that, after we're not in our 20s. We're all pretty seasoned, I would say. And it just happened to be that everyone took a totally different avenue in life. And we ended up at the point where everything collides and makes a lot of sense in a way that, it's like everyone has expertise in a totally adjacent or orthogonal part of the business. And so combining efforts will made a lot of sense. And that's how we ended up. I was shutting down. I was in the process of shutting down my previous startup that I founded. Due to COVID and stuff, we had to shut it down. But they just started DeepDub just before COVID started, and it made a lot of sense for me to join them. In fact, when I joined them, not at the beginning, because I was more focusing on sales and marketing and the launch out of stealth of as a technology startup. A lot of times you start in like stealth mode, you're and you're not telling anyone what's going on.
Right.
But then, so I joined just at that point. Though it made a lot of sense at that point. Yeah.
So tell us, what does DeepDub do?
So DeepDub is a generative AI company, technology driven, but we like to actually position ourselves as a creative tech, not a pure tech. And I'll I'm sure I'll get into that a bit later.
Okay.
And DeepDub basically aims to, bridge the language barrier and cultural gaps of entertainment experiences, and not only entertainment experiences, but of any audiovisual content for content creators, content owners, broadcasters, by enabling them to reach wider audiences using generative AI technologies, tools, and very specifically the platform that we developed. And the idea is, and I'm sure we're going to touch this, that there's no doubt we're going to talk about it. The idea is, how can we, increase access to regions, territories, people that traditionally would not have access to that content. And everyone, when we talk about AI, and if I touch this very specifically, we're talking about AI dubbing and localization, but which the first thing that comes to mind, or I'm a voice actor, I'm going to lose my job, right? And I would say, it's only true if I am doing your job, but if I'm doing something that you've never done before as a voice actor, then I'm creating a job. And the reality is that we are, an AI in general is creating jobs. That's true that some things are going to change, but that's the reality of our lives. But the idea is, can I use the AI in order to create new opportunities, and also enable, at the same time, enable other audiences that traditionally would be excluded from accessing content. And, we talk a lot of time. You'll hear me talk, in different podcasts, on conferences and panels I participated, about regions where there is almost no dubbing infrastructure. And traditionally there's, dubbing is almost like an exclusive club for content owners that have the ability to do it, the ability to finance it, to manage the process that sometimes is very complex. And it's getting better, even with the traditional studios. It's getting better. They're getting more efficient. But essentially, it's almost like an exclusive club. And the example is, like, look at a country like Indonesia. There is like 200 million people there. And very little content is being dubbed. Rates of illiteracy are much higher than what we have, in the Western world. Why wouldn't we dub content there? In Germany, it's exactly the opposite. 100% of everything is dubbed. Gotcha. Everything is dubbed. Right, but at those rates, and by the way, the capacity limitations, it's not possible to do this for Eastern Europe or Southeast Asia. We have to find another way to do it. And if we can actually create a job, because that job was not there, but if we can create new jobs that are related to that, then we're actually creating jobs. And it's an interesting, it's an interesting fact that we are being approached. And I just, right now it's 10 a.m. for me, and I logged in this morning, looked at my computer, looked at messages. I think I saw about 3 or 4 incoming messages from people from within the industry, either a dubbing studio or a voice actress. There was a voice actress and someone else, maybe a translator, that are contacting us, and that's on a daily basis, and trying to find ways to work. How can we be part of this,
right.
Take part in this, exactly, with this innovation? How can we participate?
I think obviously the big issue right now is the regulations on it, that the voices are not misused or used with unauthorized, and that's what the union is fighting for. So I know you guys are part of what is this, the Trusted Partner Network accreditation your company has. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the TPN, or the Trusted Partner Network, is a certification that was created by the Motion Picture Association. It basically is a due diligence process that a company needs to go through in order to be certified to receive pre-release material. They basically audit, the security measures, the way we treat people, the way that people are being, what are the security conditions they work in. And the idea is that in the end, it means that when we work with a studio, with a big studio, we can have access. They don't need to, start doing another due diligence in order to verify that we can receive, pre-release content.
Gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the more important thing about it, about the fact that DeepDub is TPN certified, is a way of us solidifying the commitment to the industry. The idea is, I could probably work with studios without doing this TPN certification, but investing it, which is, it's an expensive process, right? We need to pay people, we need to adjust our processes, etc. But the idea of having it is a way of us saying, we're trying to work with the industry. We're trying to work with with the studios in a legal way, in an ethical way. Work with with dubbing studios that in a way are the employers in most cases of voice actors, right? Work wherever we can, also work with the unions, if we can, if we need to. I participated specifically about a couple months ago. I was invited by the BFFS, which is the German voice actors union. I was invited to the Munich Film Festival to have a dialogue, to give a keynote speech and participate in a panel and have an open dialogue with the understanding that we don't necessarily agree on everything, but it doesn't mean we cannot start educating each other. And I think,
how did it go?
It went great. I was blown away, first of all, by the warm welcome that I received over there. And more than the actual participation in the event itself, the networking event afterwards, interacting and talking to voice actors, one-on-one discussions, some of them prominent, established, people that have been in the industry, for decades, and people know their voices and everything. And having that level of interaction, of one-on-one interactions, where I can bounce off ideas of, can I like, you have these projects, but you have off time. Can I, maybe enhance your productivity? Maybe you can work remotely. Maybe I can do this, start thinking of ideas of how I can, with technology, enable even, established voice actors to do a little bit more, to use the technology to their benefit. And again, obviously there's a lot, and I think that's the key. There's so much, first of all, misconception, but the misconception is also guided by so much, for the lack of other word, fake. It's just the deep fake and the concepts of what bad things I can do with it.
Right.
And in some cases it overshadows the good things that can be done with AI. And
so basically, voice actors, this is a process where we can still participate and are needed, as opposed to being obsolete.
Absolutely. And you know what, I'll tell you this. First of all, I don't think that for the high quality type of content, AI is going to replace voice actors or dubbing directors, because we see it, when you go to see something in theatrical, you still need that acting. You still need, we did a test on the theatrical, and I looked at the way, and we compared it to the traditional, and the traditional was really good. And we're like, wow, it actually looks really good. Like, I believe it. We saw it in English and it was dubbed into Spanish, and without making any changes, it's all people, dubbing directors did all creative work,
Mm-hmm.
The lip sync was really good. I'm like, wow, that looks pretty convincing. And there was no need to manipulate anything. Even the voices were not bad at all. Let me take it back. We're really good. The voices were really good, not bad. They were really good. Like they were representing. So, but this was a theatrical where budgets are limitless,
Mm-hmm.
where timing is, in abundance. You can do you can invest, and the studio will invest whatever they need in order to get that quality because people are paying to see this in theater.
Mm-hmm.
And our goal is, I don't even need to get to that level. Can I get close to that level and make it in other places?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go in theater, but can I make it in that, the regions where there is lack of that content?
Right. So you're just trying to make it accessible, and cost and affordable for someone to have their content.
Right, and I still need voice actors for the process. AI still needs voice actors. But the difference is, I may not need. Sometimes I don't need a lot. I can just do it less, which means that the rest can actually do more.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's how we can expand capacity by saying I don't need a lot of voice actors because I need a few that can give me a lot of performances.
Mm-hmm.
And if I originally had to maybe have 20 voice actors in I don't know, in a series, then the rest of the 15 or 17 or 18 voice actors that don't participate now can actually do another series,
Right.
or 5 more.
Mm-hmm.
So I can expand. So when I talk to a dubbing studio, it's a way of, hey, today you can handle one show, but maybe you can do with the same manpower, can do 5 shows simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we're looking at it. There are still voice actors involved in it, because the voice actors here, in this case, what they do is, one of the methods that we operate is they contribute the performance. So the AI cannot really create a performance that is to the quality of what a voice actor can create.
Right.
Right. I mean, that with also with the lip sync, in order to get to a really, really good lip sync today, AI, and that's I would say, a pretty emerging capability of manipulating the video.
Mm-hmm.
So changing the lip movements on the target language. There are so many, I would say, legal obstacles there that I'm not even gonna get into that.
Right.
Because we're talking about changing someone's voice, and we have strikes. Just think about what will happen when we talk about changing someone's face.
Oh gosh, yes, I know. That's the scary part. When it's uncontrolled.
Totally. So the idea is, first of all, let's put it in control. Let's put the guardrails. Let's all agree that understand what we're doing here, and agree that it's not about eliminating jobs, but creating new opportunities of how can I expand the capabilities of the existing voice artists, or the existing infrastructure I have to dub content, instead of dub X amount, but to dub 5X amount.
Right. Got you. So now I was reading also that you have like an individual platform that creators can use.
Right. Yes. So I think that's another exciting thing, because everything I talked about so far is really in the entertainment. It's like
Right. The
dubbing for TV shows and films and feature films, but there's really no reason why a YouTuber would not be able to dub their content, and they don't have the budgets. Like, they would like to dub it themselves sometimes. And there's still some limitations to dub yourselves. I'll explain in a second. But what we did is we released about a month and a half ago, released a new platform that is excited to say that actually this week it's available to everyone. It was running a beta, and right now it's available to anyone on our website. And that enables pretty much anyone to create and dub content into multiple languages, your own content. So I could go online, upload my own video, and dub it into Spanish, and the platform will help me by transcribing the content automatically, creating a baseline transcription that is normally pretty good, depending on the content, obviously, and give me voices that are based from text. So the text will be generated, we call it text to speech. So that will be a text that is, dialogue that is created from the text, but with the ability to prompt it for emotion. We call it emotional prompt. So basically I could say to the text, I want it a little bit giggly, I want it sarcastic or sad or shouting. And then the AI will create its own interpretation from the text of what it means for that specific emotion. Just like, or in a similar way of how if you were on ChatGPT or other AI, conversational AI, where you give it some text and it understands from the context, what you're talking about. What we developed is AI that from the text understands the context. So it knows how to, for example, say when it's reading, this is something huge, with certain emotional prompt, it'll say, this is something huge. It will add a little bit of emotion into it. Now, it's by no means, it's not the level of, if I needed this to be specifically and very precisely, for example, following lip sync or specific emotion, I don't have a control to actually say, I want exactly on this letter to be this way. But still, to the purpose of what it's meant for, it's pretty good. Now, where can someone else contribute? If I want to create a video, or I created a video in English and now I want to dub it into Spanish, now I'm facing some trouble because I'm not a Spanish speaker. So I would need someone that actually can go in and say, all right, this is a good translation into Spanish, and this actually sounds good.
Right.
And we see from that perspective, we see a lot of people that come from the creative community that are interested in contributing, because there is a creative aspect to it. It's not your voice here really, but for example, for someone that did only translations, suddenly they're able not only to do the translation or to curate and correct the translation, they can also be involved in the adaptation. Because now I need to make some changes to make sure that it falls within the timeline. It's like as a voiceover, you're familiar with when you dub content. German, for example, is like about on average 20% longer than English, where Spanish is 85% of English, so a little shorter.
Right.
So if you dub it into English, now you need to into Spanish, English into Spanish, you need to basically make sure that it's within the time frame, and especially if it's German, right? You have two segments of voice, they could overlap in German, but in English they're okay, just because German could be longer.
You still need a human input to make these things, work.
Exactly. Yeah, you still need someone there to actually make sense of it.
Right. Something badly dubbed, winds up becoming like a joke, and it winds up becoming a meme, and
entirely.
It gets around. People get annoyed, they want to be involved in the story or whatever the content is, and not be distracted by, there's an awkwardness in this, or it's obviously an AI voice. You need that human connection.
Totally. And you touched actually something very important, and I think that's the adaptation, because making a joke funny in English, or that is funny in English, making it also funny in Spanish and in Brazilian Portuguese is not a simple task.
Yes.
Because it sometimes needs to be entirely different, but within the context. And machines,
there's a lot, and dialects too. I mean, different countries have, even the United States has God knows how many regional accents happening. How do you guys handle all of that? That's a lot.
Yeah, it can be handled. I think in the end, AI could handle dialects. You could add, or in fact, in some cases also eliminate. And we had that requests of, can I have an actor that from studios saying, we would like to remove accent from an actor.
Mm-hmm.
But still use their voice. Those are, that's an interesting capability that AI suddenly
Can do.
enables. Yeah, that the AI enables you to do that. And by the way, going back to my discussion with German voice actors,
Yeah.
was what part of it was, hey, I can make you, be able to dub in English, remove your German accent from English. So now you have maybe more opportunities based on your acting, not based on your voice.
Interesting. That's so
Right.
interesting. Now, the platform that you're making more accessible to, say, the YouTube creator, there are voices on that. Where are those voices coming from? Those are just text-to-speech voices that were hired at another time? Well, I mean, because we get auditions all the time for text-to-speech.
Right.
Voice actors do. And we usually get guided not to do them because sometimes the voice can be used for,
Right.
tons of things. So what is being used? Where do those actors or voices come from?
So, and again, you're touching a great point here, because the technology is out there. A lot of people today can pick up the technology and say, all right, I'm going to create my own text-to-speech, and I'm going to create an amazing company that's going to do this and that. And then they realize, wait a second, I need voices. So now let's go and look for voices. Where can I find the voices? And I think this is where things start to become less blurry, because at that point especially if you're a studio, you're like, all right, I need to talk to those that actually know what they're doing in terms of acquiring voices and getting those voices in a legal way, keeping privacy, issues, paying, doing ethically, making sure that people are aware of what they're doing. Because in the end, what stops anyone from going outside, recording someone, and then using the voice?
Right.
Today, from a technology perspective, nothing stops them. This is where we're still behind. We're still lagging in terms of the legal guardrails. What we did, at least the DeepDub, I can only speak to myself, because I'm not talking for the entire industry here, but I can speak to what we did. And I will say that we put a lot of focus from day one of doing everything in as legal as can be, as ethical as can be. When we approach people and tell them, we're going to we'd like to actually record your voice, or would like you to contribute your voice, we provide all the information. They get paid for it. We provide all the information.
It's full disclosure of what's happening.
Full disclosure. It will not. I will tell you this, because I'm in discussions personally, also involved in discussions with with the studios that we're working with. We would not be able to have those discussions if we were not able to actually show evidence of everything we do. Everything is on the table. Everything is legal. Everything is we are GDPR certified, meaning that we pass the privacy laws of the European Union, which is it's another again a testament to the fact that we care about privacy laws. We spend a lot of effort on doing this the right way. But yes, you will get, and there was a lot of drama, I know, in Europe around different companies, not us, thank God, but different companies that don't pay attention to this kind of stuff, and try to sneak things in, and it bites you back in the end. So
I think right now it's still such a learning process, because the whole thing, with Bev Standing and TikTok and how her voice was used, and and I was from her recording something years ago from another studio that she had no idea that it was going to be used again, but I think as these legal issues come up, it's like it is in a way kind of starting to create some sort of like do's and don'ts. I think, it's slow, but at least it's, I don't know. I try to look at everything as a form of progress, that there is some progress. As much as she had to go through what she had to go through, it's still kind of opened all of our eyes as to what was happening.
Everyone's, absolutely. And I think the key was that she was not aware of what it's going to be used for,
Right.
and what is the duration, and that's millions, if not billions, of people are going to use her voice, and she's not getting compensated for it at all.
Right.
I think that was what, that was the key to it. And you're absolutely right. Where it all feels like a little bit uncharted right now,
Right.
especially in the U.S. And in certain territories, it feels like we're lagging behind. Like technology is advancing so fast. People are. I talk to people and I'm like, you know what? It looks really interesting. Let me follow up in a couple of years. I'm like,
it's going to be so different in a couple of years.
This is progressing on a quarterly basis. This is like every quarter we have a leap forward. It's not step by step. It's not a slow progress.
Yeah. That's a little bit of the scary part. I feel like you can't keep up because it's like every day you wake up and there's something else in the news about AI or something happening.
I agree. Totally agree. There's so much AI. I found myself using it extensively, beyond what we do, but with other tools. In the end, and it's interesting. I participated in a marketing AI conference a few weeks ago, and I was there on a panel, but I also listened. There was so many interesting things, and I think one of the interesting stories I heard was someone said, do you remember the days where we used to be invited to these conferences about NFT and cryptocurrency, and a lot of people will go in and say, I believe this is going to be the future, and the guy continued to say, with AI, it's not the case, because it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. It's already here.
It's here.
And it's happening. And we have to find the way of how we can actually engage with it in a legal, ethical, but also meaningful way and efficient way. And I think one of the things we'll figure out, we'll see, is that the AI human collaboration is going to be key. And I'm not a young person. I have kids, and I'm thinking about my kids. When they grow up, they're going to grow up into an entirely different world.
Yeah.
Where you can just think of the idea, have 80% of it created for you in a matter of seconds, and then you can spend 20% of your time just perfecting it and making it yours.
Mm-hmm. Incredible freedom.
Now we need to, for sure, there has to be the guardrails. It needs to be done in a lawful way and within the ethical boundaries. And you're absolutely right. The technology is progressing faster than what our legal framework is able to catch up. And I think part of it, one of the side effects, or one of the not side effects, or one of the side effect, or what we see as a result is the strike, where people say, hey, wait a second, it's like
we've had enough.
Let it catch up for a second, because we don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, they're holding fast, and hanging on, and praying for some good results to come from that. But it's people, they rise up, they have questions, they have concerns, they don't just sit around and just let things happen. So that's a great thing about the human race, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. There needs to be some clarity, and in the end it will be figured out. Again, I don't think, and you know what, I think that's also the interesting thing. A lot of people thinking the actors are striking because they don't want AI, and I don't think that's the case. I think that they just want to understand what's going to happen with AI.
Yeah. No, I think anyone current realizes it's here, and we have to figure out how we can still, stay employed and work our way with it, so we don't become obsolete, So I think everybody, and if you're old school and you're like, I'm out, then you just wind up leaving the business and not even caring. But the rest of us got to progress or die.
Yeah, it's true to all of us. I mean, again, if you look at marketing today, you used to have people, that create posts or SEO and stuff like that, and today you can do a lot of it with just like in seconds. I want to write a blog post, and we actually, started talking to different marketing companies, and in the end, it will take them a week to give me something that I can create.
Yeah.
Not as good, but very
Right.
fast. But anyway, I need to eventually go and read it and proof it and do a lot of corrections.
Put your personal touches in there too.
In any way, in any case, I need to do this,
Yeah.
even if someone else is creating it for me.
But still faster.
So yeah, again, I'm not saying. I think these people that may think, wait a second, I can. If they are thinking that, or let me say differently, if I could do this with AI and get something 70%, 80% good very fast, then I will pay someone to do this and give me a 95, 98% faster. But if that 80% happens in 5 minutes, let's say some prompting and some engineering around, finding, playing around in 5 minutes, and getting 98% takes them 1 week, then they're behind. They need to catch up.
Yeah.
You need to give me that 98% in 2 days.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, because you could get that 80%. If I could get that 80%, you should be able to get that 80% also very fast.
Yeah.
Even better, and do that extra work that you need to do. I think that's where we're going, where the expectation is going to be that, it's not going to eliminate the work. It's just you're going to expect it to happen faster.
Everything is so fast as it is, instantaneous.
I know.
And that's what's so he's like, it's going to get faster and faster.
Because faster to the point where it's online. This is where we're going. In the end, dubbing will probably be, it's like it'll be a live thing to some extent. In some cases, not everything. Again, theatricals, quality stuff is not going to be replaced. I don't think so. It's
people still want they still want their human connection in the
exactly. The quality is so high. It's not there yet. But for lower quality, lower tiers of types of content,
it makes sense.
Yeah, reality shows that are so complex to dub anyway. And right, reality shows are complex to dub, or live, where it's going to be hard to dub live shows, sports into multiple languages. Like, you can imagine dubbing it into maybe 2 languages, but can I dub it into 30 languages? It becomes a tremendous operation.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Wow. Thank you so much. I feel like my eyes are opened, and realize it is not as scary as some people are making it out to be. We just have to go with the flow, so to speak.
Yeah, there's like everything, there's going to be an adjustment. There is an adjustment, and we're experiencing it. It's across the board for everyone. Our eyes opened once ChatGPT came into our world about less than a year ago, and everyone's like, suddenly, because everyone was talking about AI for years, but suddenly ChatGPT is there, and wait a second, I understand it can actually do stuff that are mind blowing. Again, am I going to use it like it is? I can ask it to write an email. Am I going to take that email and use it as is? Absolutely no. No, that's not my expectation. But does it give me a few ideas that I didn't think about, or like gives me the language? For example, I'm not a native English. Will it be able to use more? I can tell it, hey, give me a formal letter to this and that. Does it give me some keywords that I didn't think about before? I think that's where it is. If people are thinking, and that's where the misconception is, where AI is going to replace us.
Right.
It's not Skynet. We're not in Terminator, world of Arnold Schwarzenegger, saving the world. It's not needed. I don't think it's going this way.
Yeah.
We're going to learn how to collaborate with it and make ourselves useful within that new world that is created, because people, humans adapt. We adapt.
We will.
It got, I don't know. It got hotter or whatever. We change things in order to we shift, we move, we transition, we create,
to survive.
We survive. Yeah, and I think the future, in my view, is looking pretty bright. But there are some, there's a bunch of things that need to be clarified, to be cleared, to be aligned, guardrailed, for sure, adjusted. We need to understand where things are, but yeah, I think it's coming, and we need to be prepared for it.
And that is a positive note then to wrap up the podcast. That's great. Thanks again for coming on, Oz, and sharing all of your knowledge with us. DeepDub.ai, if you guys want to check it out. Or there's DeepDub Go, right? That's the new one that's out.
Right. That's a platform. If you go on our website, you can log in find that menu button. There is a free tier. You can give it a try yourselves. If you're a voice actor, I encourage you to go there and see, and play with it and see what it can do. I think you'll notice that it still requires some creative. That's why we call ourselves creative tech, because there is actually a lot of people from the creative community involved within the company as well.
Good. That's good to hear. I'll definitely put the links in the notes as well, the show notes, so everybody can follow up on that. But again, thank you so much for coming on to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I totally appreciate your time today, Oz.
Thank you, Linda.
All right. Have a good one. That wraps up another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Everybody, please have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.